good life, full of fun.
Hey guys, welcome to my kitchen. Another big, exciting day in my kitchen. Why do I say that? First, let's talk seriousness now. We got some music going, okay? And what did I do today? What did I choose for today's delicious recipe? I got Frank Sinatra playing, Swingin' Sessions, 1952, Capitol Records. Now, what else do we have going on? Second, and also equally important, is our recipe. So we got the header up there, but today we're making crepes. And I'll tell you, the first thing that goes to my mind is something that's like a dolce, like something sweet and delicious. And there's so many different recipes when we talk about crepes and stuffing it with something. One of the places that I love to go is in Puglia, Italy. And I can remember to this day when my kids were little, you know, I would hold them by the hand and we would walk up this hill in Pescacci, Italy. And there's this place right at the top of the hill and it's called Michela's, and he would have gelato and Nutella crepes. And, you know, I remember my kids with their eyes just busted out of their head, you know, walking up, couldn't wait to get a crepe there, a Nutella crepe. They still do it, by the way, but now they're in their, you know, 20s. But today we're gonna make something savory. So we're gonna take that same delicious crepe recipe and we're gonna make something delicious. So today we're gonna make basically a crepe, or another word in Italian for crepe is crepesella, and we're going to take a crepe and we're going to stuff it with something just absolutely delicious. So we're going to hit it with some gorgonzola. So gorgonzola cheese with pancetta. You with me? A little bit of garlic, caramelized onion, and we're going to drizzle the top with balsamic. All right, let's go over ingredients and start having some fun. So first, let's go over those crepes. So what are we going to need for crepes? Basically, the body of your crepe is going to be flour, right? So I've got 2 cups of flour. Now, what I like in this, I want to make it light, so I'm going to use either an all-purpose or a pastry or even a cake flour. I like unbleached, unenriched. I like just the beautiful, pure flavor of the wheat without anything else, okay? Secondly, I'm going to do 2 cups of a whole milk. Now, ideally here, you want that full fat whole milk. I don't like to pull the fat out. Remember, much of your flavor in any of your dishes, and especially in this, is going to be in your fat. Next, we're going to have to add some butter to our crepe. So in this case, I've got about 5.5 tablespoons of butter. We're only going to use 3 tablespoons of butter, but we're going to use the other butter to act as a lubricant so it doesn't stick in the pan. Now we're going to add some eggs. So I'm going to add 3 whole eggs, and again, fat and that beautiful deliciousness of the yolk. I'm going to do 4 eggs, 3 whole eggs, 1 egg yolk. Then we want to make that inside of the crepe. So one, we've got our pancetta. Now I've got here essentially around 4 to 5 ounces of pancetta. Now we're going to use our caramelized onion. So just get a whole onion. I like that golden, like that Spanish golden onion. That's got a lot more, it's got a lot more onion flavor kick. I've got garlic. I'm gonna use 2 cloves of garlic. And then I'm gonna use some scallions. Now I'm not gonna use all this, but I just thought it looked great today in our presentation. So I'm gonna use some scallions. And what I love about scallions, like, you know, it's got the beautiful flavor of that onion. It's a little bit brighter, it's a little bit more earthy, and it's got that herb flavor that you don't necessarily get with just a plain onion. So we're gonna add a little bit of that. Next, we're gonna add our gorgonzola. Now our gorgonzola is gonna be essentially our Italian blue cheese. So it's made a little different than French blue cheese. God, I love blue cheese in general. So here I've got about 8 to 10 ounces of gorgonzola cheese. Next, we're going to have some balsamic. So what I've got here is a reduced balsamic. In this case, what you're going to want to do is you can either buy it reduced or you're going to heat it up to where it gets thick, almost like a syrup is what I did here, okay? And we're going to drizzle the top of our crepes with the balsamic. Delicious. Next, we've got salt, guys. I love pink Himalayan. It's a little bit earthier and got great minerals, healthy for you. And as you guys know, pink Himalayan's sexy. You with me? All right, next we're gonna want some freshly ground. Remember that, freshly ground pepper. Why freshly ground? Because there's oils in there and you dry it out. It dries out very quickly if you grind it ahead of time. And last, guys, this recipe calls for some olive oil. And if you really want this to come out great, I'm thinking you'd want to use some of the world's best olive oil, some extra virgin olive oil from Italy, from Puglia. That's delicious. Geez, I wonder where I could get some. Oh my gosh, I don't know if I ever shared with you guys. I know it's a horrible transition. Anybody new to our channel, I own a farm in Italy. It's in Puglia, Italy, just above the heel, okay, East Coast. And I named the company after my two boys, Vito and Joey. And we make olive oil. So we co-op with a group of farms. We ship it right here to the United States. It's grassy, earthy, peppery. Oh, it's got some punch to it. And you can go right on my Facebook page, Cooking Italian with Joe, or my webpage, Cooking Italian with Joe. Just click buy it now. We'll drop ship it right to your front doorstep. Wouldn't that be fantastic? And I call it a trip to Italy right above. All right, so let's get cooking here. Now, what's gonna take the longest? Caramelized onions. So I want to get going on those onions. That's the first thing I want to do. You're going to get a pan with a tightly fitted lid, okay? You're going to grab a whole onion, and then you're going to give it some slices. Okay, onions are set. I'm going to grab my pot, fill it with my onions. I'm going to add a couple tablespoons of olive oil, obviously Vito and Joe's, a pinch of pink Himalayan. Yeah, you got it. It's sexy. And a couple of hits of freshly ground pepper. Now the trick here, you're gonna add about a cup and a half of water. Just dump it right in. Now I'm over to the stove. I'm gonna give it a really good stir. Now the water in there is gonna give you steam, and that's gonna cook the onions down a lot faster than just oil. I'm gonna put that lid on tight, and I'm gonna leave it on medium to high heat for a good 10 minutes. Okay guys, time to make the French crepe. Are you with me now? Mwah. All right, bad French accent, just as my Italian's just as bad. Okay, so let's make our crepe. We're gonna take our fun ingredients here, and I'm gonna wanna melt this butter down. Melt it all down. While the butter's melting, let's mix our ingredients. First, we're gonna start with our flour, and I got a cute little whisk here, so we're just gonna go ahead and dump our flour in, and just make a little well in there. Next, I'm gonna add my milk, and then just give that a light stir. I'm gonna put a pinch of salt in there. Next, I wanna get my eggs going, and I'm always gonna go flat on the ground, so I don't push the shell in there. I just want the yolk. And I always like to mix all the eggs first before I put them in anything. I'm gonna put my eggs right inside my batter. Last, I've got my butter, so I'm gonna leave a little bit of butter left. I like to use a spoon because when you melt it, you wanna make sure you get all those solids in there. You just don't want the clarified. And I'm gonna leave maybe a couple tablespoons back. And then our crepes batter, what you're gonna wanna do here is just give it a nice good stir. Two things I'm going to tell you. One, I want it runny, so almost like a ribbon. It's not quite there, so I might have to add a little bit more milk. We'll see. Secondly, give it a good stir. Let it set for 5 minutes. Give it another stir. Let it set. Why? I don't want to necessarily incorporate air in here. What I do want is all the flour to be hydrated. It's really important in order to get the best full body flavor out of your flour. All right, so see now how it's starting to, I haven't added anything yet. See how she's starting to ribbon on me? Oh, that's perfect. Guys, I've got my caramelized onions going. Boom, everything's great. Now I want to get that pancetta nice and crispy, and I want to mix it with my garlic, okay? So I've got my pan here, and I've got just a simple fry pan. This is the same pan we're going to use to make our crepe. And I'm going to dump my pancetta right in the pan. I'm going to add just a little splash of Vito and Joe's olive oil, about a tablespoon. While that's going, I'm going to get my garlic going. Oh, doesn't that look good? So give it a little hit. There you go, peel it. Perfect, sharp knife. Oh, look at that. The garlic will cook quick. And it gets a little bitter if you overcook it, like in a fry pan. So I always add it right near the end when I got about 2 minutes to go. And I'm going to add it to the pancetta. Guys, I drained out all the oil. I got my pancetta and garlic. Oh, now it's time to be a crepe making machine. You know what I mean? So I've got my pan warm. What I'm going to want, a couple tips here. I'm going to want my melted butter and something to prep the pan with. A little bit of a brush would be great. I'm also going to want my crepes batter right close by, which I've got. I'm going to need something to get that crepe flip, a set of tongs, and I'm going to want something that's going to give me a good 4 ounces or more of batter. So something that you can start to equalize the same amount of batter. You'll find this will take about 1.5 of these in this pan. And that's important because they'll cook all around the same time and they'll all be around the same shape and thickness, and that's exactly what you want. A couple other tips to make these come out absolutely fantastic. First and foremost, you got to subscribe to that channel. So there's a red button right down there. And when you click it and you click that bell, any new trips I have, any new recipes, anything happening on the farm, blogging with Borio, it'll come right to your notification box. And like I tell everybody, hey, it really means a lot to me when you subscribe to the channel. And hey, it makes you part of the family. You know what I'm saying? And it's not an accident I got Vito Joe's up in the corner. So just as a reminder, if you haven't gone to the website or Facebook page, You probably already did, but you definitely want to grab some olive oil. Okay, my French people, let's make us some crepes. So I'm going to take my butter, and I'm just going to get that pan coated just with a quick little brush. That's all you need. And then I'm going to take my spoon. What I tell you, it'd be about 1.5 of those. Yep. And then get it spread out. Guys, how do you know when this is done? You're going to see this start to dry out, and you're going to start to see a lot of bubbles, a lot of holes along the top. So when you start to see holes, we know we're close. Okay, guys, this baby's ready. You ready? Now, a lot of people would use tongs to flip this, you know what I mean? But hey, we're doing it Italiano with a little bit of French, you know what I'm saying? So here we go. We're going to take this pan. You got to get near the end like that. And you get, I mean, are you serious? Are you serious? What do you think? You're dealing with an amateur over here, okay? That is perfect. See how that's already hot? So it's only going to take a few more seconds on that backside. And I like that brown. You know, it browns, it gives the egg a better flavor. The butter, the flour gets a little bit of nutty flavor to it. Guys, last of my crepes are done. I'm going to pop that one right there. Beautiful. Now all I got to do is I want to get that green onion, that scallion ready to go, because that's going to be a critical part of this. So I'm going to grab my scallions, get those roots off. These have already been washed. And then real simple, guys, I'm going to do that maybe 1/8 of an inch, and I'm going to come up about halfway up on its stalk, because it makes such a great garnish and adds just a delicious flavor of herb. So 2 scallions ready to go. Got my serving platter. So I'm just going to start putting these together. Guys, let's start assembling. I'm going to take my crepe. Take the side that's the most beautiful, put that down, because that's what you're going to see on the outside of this, okay? And then what I'm going to do real simple is I'm going to take my caramelized onions, and you're going to take maybe a tablespoon and just put those right across. Almost like a, you know, it's almost like a jam of onion. And that's going to add that sweetness, that earthiness, that deliciousness. Then I'm going to take some of my pancetta and garlic here, and you don't need a lot. A little bit of this goes a long way, and it's going to add that beautiful texture and crisp and crunch and salt. Now I'm going to take my gorgonzola. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to break it up. So you're just going to take that crumbled gorgonzola, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll that nice and tight. So get it in, because you want to roll it. Oh, that is just fantastic. All right, so let me show you how to garnish this, how to finish this. Number one, we're going to want to hit that balsamic, that thick, gooey balsamic vinegar that we reduced. And we don't want to make a soup here, but we just want to give it a nice little drizzle. And then we're going to take what we have left over from our bacon, if you will, our pancetta, and just hit that with a little bit so you get a crunch top. And then last, we're just going to hit it with those scallions. How delicious is that? You're going to taste this with your eyes first. You got that open up. Look at that. You just got that beautiful wrap with the balsamic, scallions, and you can just see that blue cheese, you know, all that deliciousness right inside there. So I'm going to cut this into just a perfect bite-sized piece. It's taste time in Frank's plan, so, oh boy, I'll tell you, the balsamic like jumps right out at you with that sweetness. Immediately gives you a punch of your scallion. And the crepe, the butter, the garlic. It is the epitome of savory. Because you get that sweetness, and there's flavor all the way through. And then the more you chew it, you get that texture, that pancetta and the garlic, the gorgonzola and the scallion. And what's great is the crepes, you know, they got that little extra. I like to do them a little bit more when I do savory, so it's got that little bit of caramelization on the outside, but they still give you that cakey in the inside. It just adds that beautiful texture and flavor and airiness. Thank you for joining me in the kitchen for an absolutely delicious and simple and fun recipe. Remember, really important, molto importante, hit that red button, subscribe to the channel, make you part of the family. And you know, you go to our website or our Facebook, hit buy it now. Love to ship you a bottle of extra virgin Vito and Joe's olive oil right to your front doorstep. I call it a trip to Italy right in the bottle. And guys, remember, as I say to you guys every week, you know, if not just once a week or even once a month, you know, shut off the television, the cell phones, the computer, get yourself around the table, tell stories, celebrate your heritage, and set some traditions that last you a lifetime. I know they did for me, guys. Hey, from my kitchen to yours, until next week, mwah, bon appetit.
Good life, full of fun, seems to be